Hello and welcome to episode number 4 of this series on music theory for guitar players. In this lesson, we are going to be learning all about the major scale. So let's jump straight into it. So first of all, to know what the major scale is, you might want to know what a scale is. And a scale is basically a series of notes that go up in pitch or can go down in pitch. In the scale that we're going to be learning about today, the first note is C, and this is going to be the C major scale. So the notes in the C major scale are C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And when you use this grouping of notes together in any kind of possibility, this is what is called a key. So a key is a group of notes that work well together with each other. Now, let's look at how we can play the C major scale. So we're going to be playing the C major scale like this. So our C, our first note, is going to be the 8th fret of the low E string. Then our D is going to be the 10th fret. E is going to be the 7th fret of the A string with our index finger. Then the F is going to be the 8th fret with our middle finger. G is going to be the 10th fret with our little finger. A is going to be the 7th fret of the D string with our index finger. And B is going to be the 9th fret of the D string with our ring finger. So that's the scale. But we can keep going another octave. If you watched the last video, you'll know that an octave is basically the next C. So C is the 10th fret of the D string, and we're going to play that with our little finger. Then we're going to just repeat the scale again. So the next note in the scale is D, which we'll play on the 7th fret of the G string, and that's with our index finger. Then the next note is E, which we'll play on the 9th fret of the G string with our ring finger. Then the 10th fret is our F with our little finger. Then we're going to play the 8th fret of the B string with our middle finger. That's our G. Then A is 10th fret with our little finger. And then B is the 7th fret of the high E string with our index finger. And then we can finish on a C there. The last lesson we talked about intervals, and we can take a look at the intervals of the C major scale now. So the intervals are in regards to their relation to the first note of the major scale. So if that doesn't make sense, it will make sense in a second. So in our C major scale, the first note is C, and the first note is called our tonic. So we've got a C. All right. Then the next note is D, which is a major second above our C. Then the next note is E, which is a major third above our C. So our C is our tonic, our D is our major second, our E is our major third, then our F is a perfect fourth above our C. So our F is known as our fourth. Then the F is, my apologies, the G is known as our perfect fifth, because it's a perfect fifth above the C. And we don't really, when we're talking in scales, we don't really say perfect, we'll just call it a fifth, okay, and a fourth. All right. So we've got our fifth, which is G. Then our A is our major sixth, because it's a major sixth above C. And then our B is our major seventh, because it's a major seventh interval above our C. And then the next C is obviously an octave. So in C major scale, we have our tonic, we have our major second, we have our major third, we have our perfect fourth, a perfect fifth, a major sixth, and a major seventh. Something you might want to be aware of is that major intervals are often abbreviated to just the number, so we have our root, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Just like perfect intervals are just abbreviated to their number as well. So in the major scale, we'll have our root, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. Alright, so I left a couple of details out in the video that I just made. So before we get onto the quiz, here's a couple of extra facts that you need to know. All the notes that are contained with in our key or in our scale, they're called diatonic notes. They just mean they exist within our key. Any notes that don't exist within our key, so if we take the C major scale, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, and B, and we take any note that's not one of those notes, so for example, a B flat, that is called a chromatic note. So we've got diatonic notes, which exist within the key, and chromatic notes that are not within the key. All right, so we'll move on to the quiz now. Make sure you get a pen and paper ready, and if you need to go back into the video to get the right answer, that's fine. But just make sure you can answer all 5 of these questions before you move on to the next video. So the first question is, what is a scale? The second question is, what is a key? So scales and keys are different. It's a very subtle difference, but they're different. Question number 3 is, what are the notes in C major? Question number 4 is, what do we call the first note in our scale? And question number 5 is, what are the intervals within the C major scale? So once you can answer all 5 of those questions, check the answers in the description, and if you got all 5 of them right, then we can move on. If you enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe to my channel. The next video will be out next Monday, and that will be on chords. So until then, see you later.